You are watching a wallpaper installation tutorial. This tutorial will teach you to install wallpaper procedures and precautions. First of all, let's understand what tools are needed to install wallpaper. This is our emulsion powder, which is the material used to make glue, the roller that we use to apply glue. The tape measure is used to measure the size of the wall, as well as the length of the wallpaper. Place, for cutting wallpaper, it's a laser level. Let's call it a laser. To measure the level so the wallpaper doesn't stick crooked. So this is the wall spatula, to remove protrusions from the wall. And this is the brush tool, to drain the air from the wallpaper. Scraper to flatten the wall. To smooth the wallpaper, we also call it a roller to flatten a seam. This is the syringe. When the wallpaper glue is insufficient, it is used to inject glue. Sponge is used to clean the glue traces. Remember to wet it can be used. And then there's the prop bag, the ladder and the bucket and the ladle. And those are the tools you need to install the wallpaper. Now let's move on to Unit 2. Alright, let's show you how to make glue. So we'll get a bag of glue powder, a glue bucket, and 4 liters of water. First pour the water into the bucket and then open the powder. Pour it into the water with your hands to stir. While stirring, knead the powder in the water, so as not to cake in the powder in the water. The powder is completely dissolved. We will start to stir the glue. About 5 minutes to stir. The mixing process should not be too strong. Otherwise the glue will blister, which will affect the following process. So when you're stirring it slowly with the usual amount of force, it's just right. And after 5 minutes you can feel the glue start to set. And then you can stop, and then you can leave the glue there for 30 minutes. The next Unit 3 will explain the checks to be made before installing wallpaper. Before installing the wallpaper, we need to move the furniture away to make sure there is enough space for the installation work. Note: cannot use drag or pull the way to move furniture. To avoid scratching the customer's floor and try to move furniture by moving it. Next, we need to check the wall. If there is a bump on the wall, use the spatula to remove it. Then if you find no use for small holes in the wall, you can use wall repair paste to repair. The wall must be smooth and clean before installing wallpaper. Uneven walls, walls with peeling paint, and walls with moisture are not suitable for installing wallpaper. If there is no problem with the wall, then Unit 4 will teach you how to open the paper. Make sure that there is no problem with the wall. Then you can start. Before this, we need to use a tape measure to measure the width of the wall and the height of the wall. For example, the width of wallpaper is 106 so every 106 centimeters on the wall. Remember to make a mark for wallpaper. Note that the first wallpaper is 103 centimeters, which is done in order to reserve a margin to ensure that the wallpaper is pasted to the edge of the wall. When measuring the height of the wall, remember to add an extra 10 centimeters. For example, the height of this wall is 282 centimeters, so we will use 292 centimeters as the length of the wallpaper. Before you start, remember to check the model number on the wallpaper label to see if there are any splicing. In this tutorial, we use the wallpaper without splicing. First, pull the tape measure to the length of the wall height. That is, we just measured 292 centimeters. And then pull the wallpaper to align the length of the tape measure and then cut, so that you can ensure that the length of the wallpaper and the length of the tape measure are consistent. After the length of the first piece is correct, the wallpaper behind can be cut with reference to the length of the first piece, and it is done to cut to a sufficient number. After the wallpaper is finished, Unit 5 will teach you how to apply glue. What we are going to do now is apply glue to the back of the wallpaper. Flip the wallpaper to the other side and then fold the side of the wallpaper on top of the cloth or mat to make sure the glue doesn't seep into the ground when we apply the glue. Put a layer of glue on the back of the wallpaper, then use the roller to roll the glue all over the wallpaper. Remember to apply the left and right sides of the glue first. Then apply the middle part. Note that when painting, the glue should be painted and pushed down, so as to ensure that the glue is not too thick and evenly applied on the wallpaper. After painting, we have to fold the wallpaper. First fold 5 cm, then pull up, and then align the left and right fold up. Repeat this action, and finally cover the wallpaper. The purpose of this is to avoid glue contact with the air to dry the glue. The folded wallpaper can be set aside for use. After applying glue, remember to wipe the glue on the ground with a wet sponge. Wipe clean. Don't dirty the customer's floor, otherwise the customer will be angry. Unused glue can be saved for the next job. The glue has a shelf life of 4 days, so it can't be used after that. Next, Unit 6 will teach you how to install wallpaper. Now we are ready to install the wallpaper. First, set the laser level, and then aim the radium ray at the wall when the mark made. We install the first wallpaper first. The purpose is to make the next step is easier and won't make a mistake. Go up the ladder. Take the wallpaper and unfold the whole thing. Stick it from the top down. Notice the action of holding wallpaper must be sandwiched between thumb and fist, so as to ensure that the wallpaper won't crack. Stabilize the top. Remember to leave a margin on the top. Then stabilize the middle part. Then start using the brush from the bottom up to brush the air out, taking care not to leave air in the wallpaper. Then use the scraper and blade to cut off the upper margin. Make sure to stick to the edge, and then use a wet sponge to clean up the traces. Do the same for the bottom half using the brush from the top down. If there is a sock on the wall, remember to cut a hole on the wallpaper at the right places first. Use scraper to press down on the edge, and then cut off the excess with the blade. After installing the first wall pair, we need to install the next wallpaper. We refer the previous wallpaper as baseline, so it is okay without the laser. Along the border from the top down, remember to pay attention to the splicing part. Be sure to stick align the border. After installing the next wallpaper, use the roller to flatten the splicing line. Slowly wipe off the spilled glue with a wet sponge. This will ensure that the splicing is neat and no air is left inside. Repeat these steps. You can finish the rest wallpaper installation. The margin of the wallpaper on both sides should be cut off with a scraper and a blade. Ensure that it's attached to the edges, and then clean it with a wet sponge. Unit 7 will let you know the final check to be done after wallpaper installation. After the wallpaper is installed, it is necessary to confirm whether the wall is smooth. If you find a protruding place, you must deal with it immediately. If there is too much glue, then use a scraper to flatten the protruding part. If there are bubbles, use a needle to break bubbles, and then wipe with a scraper. If there is not enough glue, remember to use a syringe to inject glue. Inject glue into the wallpaper, and then flatten it with a scraper. After installation, remember to clean up the debris of the wallpaper. Clean up the glue on the ground with a wet sponge, and then restore the furniture to its original position. Unit 8 will teach you how to remove wallpaper. If the wall to be installed already has wallpaper, we must first remove the old wallpaper before we can install the new wallpaper. Since the wallpaper has 2 layers, it is divided into 2 steps to remove it. The first step is to tear off the first layer of wallpaper. The second step is to wet the second layer of wallpaper. You can use a variety of water spray tools to wet the wallpaper. The second layer of wallpaper will float when it gets wet, so we can easily remove the wallpaper. The walls and wallpaper will fall off completely. Note that the water spraying and wet wallpaper work must be performed in separate sections. The purpose of this is to tear the paper off while the water is still wet. Remember that the part of the socket should not to touch the water, so use a wet sponge to wipe it and it will fall off easily. The torn wallpaper should also be cleaned for customers and put into garbage bags.